That's different.
You don't know what I've been through. You don't know what I've seen. Live your life, not mine. If you know what I mean. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know what I've seen. Live your life, not mine. If you know what I mean. They don't know. You don't know. We don't know. Life is funny things we do to get money. Hardships, hard times. And these days, these situations, they be sticky like honey. If it ain't Corona, they trying to clone ya. What happens to the little girl that went missing from her home? Her own daddy keep touching her. Daddy, leave me alone. I ain't got the answers. Trying to get justice for George Floyd. And if Bill Gates got the cure, make sure he got one for cancer. We screaming stop the violence, but who we asking? The killer the same color as the one in the casket. I'm no preacher, spitting hard facts like bleachers. Make America great again. It's only for the rich leeches. Where's Felicia? I guess black reparations went to new prisons and new police substations. For black justice, they be debating. We gotta wake up, but I'm going back to back. I'm on one. Cold cases still hot in the hood, cause the nigga that did it, he still home, son. I'm my own rapper, but got a new balance. Rest in peace to all the young fallen soldiers. Didn't get a chance to show the world their talents. I'm so focused, trying to save the nation. Seeing the road ahead like a full focus. You don't know what I've been through.
It's like that.
You don't know what I've seen.
It's like that.
Live your life, not mine.
It's like that.
If you know what I mean.
It's like that.
You don't know what I've been through.
Yeah.
You don't know what I've seen.
Yeah.
Live your life, not mine. If you know what I mean. They don't know. You don't know. We don't know.
Life is a bitch and death is a motherfucker. You can't trust a mother, cause people be mother. They stab you in your back and they smile up in your face. They do whatever it takes to have another place. The population polluted and robbing and shooting. Their mental state be diluted. They owe them all that they booted. Now how you only 17 and you looking 35. It's a wonderful time in this life to be alive. You better get your shit together. Stop wasting your time, cause time waits for no one. No person, place, or no thing. Yeah, it go fast, motherfucker. It go fast.
You don't know what I've been through.
It's like that.
You don't know what I've seen.
It's like that.
Live your life, not mine.
It's like that.
If you know what I mean.
It's like that.
You don't know what I've been through.
Yeah.
You don't know what I've seen. Live your life, not mine. If you know what I mean. They don't know. You don't know. We don't know.
Radio, and we do this thing, man, each and every Thursday. Show kicks off at 6 p.m. We go all the way to 7 p.m., man. So we are your hottest afternoon podcast. We got a great show. Always, as always, we got a great show. We have Brenda Eason in the building, and we're going to speak on justice for Jamari. And I'm going to when she comes in, man, I'll let you tell her. I'll let her tell the audience in reference to Zamari, who is her son, who lost his life at Virginia Beach, and she'll, give us the story and what she's fighting for. You can follow me on IG at Field Focus. Follow my Twitter fingers out there at Focus Radio. I'm sorry, I think he changed it to X, just the letter X, right? So follow me on X at Phocuz Radio, and on Facebook, man. You already know what it is, man. Phocuz Field is just that simple. Phocuz. And I'm at home, as you can see, man. But the show must go on. The show must go on. So you already know what it is. We advertise, we market, we promote, we interview. We do it all, man, right here on Phocuz Radio. So inbox me, not now, but right now, if you would love to be a guest on Phocuz Radio. We actually have a funeral tomorrow. Young lady, her name is Ty, and she actually lost her life to senseless gun violence once again in Southeast DC, in an apartment building on South Capitol Street. Still investigating the case. From what I heard, she was actually shot either in her boyfriend's home or either in the hallway. Nobody really knows what happened. Investigators, police officers, they got there, and lady by the name of Ty, like I said, she lost her life. So rest in paradise to her. Her funeral is tomorrow. And once again, I'm so tired of reporting these stories. But like I say, man, somebody got to do it. Last week, we had a shooting, which was a carjacking, which happened in Greenbelt. And the guy was, getting out his car to pump gas. And, some guys ran up on him in the vehicle, assault rifles. He was actually shot in his neck. He was actually shot in his face. Still trying to get more updates on him. He didn't pass away as far as what I know. And I want to definitely thank God for that he's still here with us. But I'm saying all this to say that something has to be done. On my last week's show, I spoke on bringing back capital punishment. I spoke on bringing back the death penalty. I spoke on tougher laws for these youngins out here. And I don't say youth, I say youngins out here that are running around committing these crimes. And they are, 16, 17, 15, 14, 13, and still able to come home when they are 21 years of age. And of course, it'll still be in the record. But the thing is that, they got a second chance, at freedom. And I don't think it's right for these teenagers, committing these crimes and then taking lives, and they are not tried as adults. I do know that in Maryland, they do definitely can try them as an adult. In DC, laws are different. Of course, Commonwealth, we're talking about VA. They can do anything they want to do. And just, man, it's just been so many cases, man. We have younger people committing these crimes. We have younger people committing these robberies. We have younger people committing these carjackings. Don't get me wrong, man. Crime has no age at all. Crime has no address at all. But I think more so, within the inner city, it's more youth crime than anything. So I just feel as though that, we gotta come together, man, as a community. We gotta come together, as people, to make a difference, And that's what needs to be done, man. We're coming up on another voting season. I want everybody to get out there and vote. I've talked to some people and they say, well, why vote? It doesn't change anything, but your vote matters. Definitely your vote matters. And, whether or not you are fighting for justice, for tougher laws, whatever it may be, whatever your cause may be, you definitely got to get out there, man, and you gotta vote. And let's make a difference. It starts with that, man. It starts within the community. I always say this, man. We are the government. We are the people. We make the choices. And we're getting into another school year. School will be starting soon. We already know. Like I said, once again, crime has no address. We have so many cases of violence that happen in schools. In the 2022-23 school year. I know at one time they were talking about putting metal detectors in all of the schools. We had a lot of teenagers once again coming to school with guns. We had a lot of young people, not even teenagers, coming to school with guns. We had crimes committed against teachers, you know. So like I say, man, it's everywhere. We got to do better as a community. I'm asking all my parents, man. I'm asking all my parents. It's best if you can, if it's within your schedule, to drop your children off at school. To make sure that they go in school, to make sure that they get there safely, to make sure that they are going to class, man. Checking with the teachers, checking with the principals. Like I tell every parent, man, once that child leaves that threshold, that little part that's on the door at the bottom, right in the middle of the door, that thrust plate. Once they leave that thrust plate and step over that thrust plate, we never know. We never know, man. There's just so much evil, so much, it's just dangerous out here. This is a dangerous place nowadays we're talking about. And I'm talking about the world, man, the outside environment. It's dangerous. So I just hope that we don't get as many reports as we did, this school season that just passed, man, as far as violence in schools. We have a lot of kids, man, that had to do counseling. There are a lot of children that needed therapy, in reference to young teen violence. We had a lot of youth lose their life, at schools in DC, and that's just a sad, pitiful. I don't even know, man. I can't even find the words in my heart to describe this violence, man, that's going on with the youth. And, when you don't even know if your child is safe to go to school, we have a problem. So that's why I say, man, tell the parents, man, make sure y'all buckle up. Make sure these kids are getting to school. Make sure they get home safely. Talk to your kids. Like I say, check their book bags. Make sure they got on the same clothes that they left with, man. It's a lot of peer pressure. It's a lot of, kids that want to be in the in crowd. Excuse me. It's a lot of kids that, that they are missing something, at home, and they go to school with their peers, or, like I said, they leave that thrust plate and it's something that they're looking for. It may be something that they're missing at home, and they feel as though that they could get it from their peers. They feel as though, it could be done in school or whatever it may be. And I'm talking drugs. I'm talking, alcohol. I'm talking sexuality. I'm talking all these things, man, that our youth fight, all these obstacles that they face every single day. And that's why, man, for the parents, man, we gotta stay on them. We got a lot of graduates. Shout out to the graduates, man. 2024. I'm excited. So many, people that I know, man, that have children that have graduated last year. They'll be starting college, this year. A lot of kids that will be graduating, like I say, man, scholarships, whether it be through sports, whether it be through medicine, whether it be, to be a doctor, to be a lawyer. You can do anything you want to do. You feel what I'm saying? So stay focused. Stay in school, study, work hard, stay grounded. And, for the parents, we have to do that, for the kids, man. Keep them grounded. Like I said, man, put them in school activities. There's so many activities, man, that, kids can participate in, make sure that they're eating good, make sure that they're healthy, make sure they're getting breakfast, make sure they're getting lunch. You feel me? Make sure they're going to bed at a good time. Don't have them out here roaming these streets. That's another thing. That's a lot. That's another thing, man, that has been happening. I think we had a 13-year-old that was actually he lost his life, I want to say, during the school year last year, and allegedly trying to steal a vehicle, and him along with some other youngins, and he lost his life due to that fact. And I'm asking, I hate to see anyone lose their life, especially a young teen, but I'm just asking, why are these kids out, during these times of night? You know what I'm saying? Especially during the school year, especially in the summer. You know, I'm out all the time, man. It's 2, 3, 1 in the morning, 12 in the morning. And, you know, I'm seeing kids out that should be home, you know, and, you know, you ask yourself, what is a young kid doing out at this time of night? So these are just the small things. Like I say, I'm no preacher, I'm no teacher, I'm just Phocuz Phil. These are the things that I experience, man. You know what I mean? These are the things that, you know, I see. And I'm a work in progress. Even as an adult, I'm a work in progress. But I don't want the same mistakes to be made with our youth, you know. So I am really serious. I'm really serious, man, when it comes to the youth, it comes to school and things like that, man. We need that. Without an education, we don't have anything at all. You know what I mean? We gotta get educated. We gotta educate our youths. We gotta let them know, man. We gotta pull everything we can as far as positivity into our youth, man. So I just wanted to say that because I know school will be opening. I think maybe in 2 weeks, something like that. School will be opening, man. So like I say, man, shout out to all of the bus drivers, you know what I'm saying, with the crazy loads, kids, you know, on a bus. Shout out, you know, to all those teachers, man, that won those great awards last school season. Shout out to the principals, man. You know, teaching, being a principal, that can be a very stressful job. You know, you gotta have patience, man. So shout out, you know what I mean, to all of y'all. And I just want to wish the kids, the parents, the teachers, anybody involved in the school board, man, I want to wish y'all a great school year. But I'm gonna hop right into it, man. We got Brenda Eason. She's in the building, man, and we're gonna talk about justice for Zamari right here on Phocuz Radio. Let's get her logged in.
Hello,
Hey,
everyone.
Miss
Hey
Brenda, how
there.
you doing? I'm well. I am well.
Okay.
I want to I definitely want to thank you for gracing the stage of Phocuz Radio. You are now
Mhm.
plugged in to Phocuz Radio, and we are family now. Um,
Yes.
and I know your name is Brenda Eason. You know, our topic today is justice for Zamari, but I would like you to tell my audience, you know, exactly who you are and, you know, why are
Yes.
you here today
Mhm.
along with your team members and fight for justice for your son.
Yes. Yes, my name is Brenda Eason Wilson, the mother of Zamari Wilson. Um, he drowned last summer, unfortunately, at Virginia Beach while we were on vacation. He drowned. Don't tell any law. Weirdest thing, but we have started mandatory for lifeguard be and some cautionary signs. You know, one sign, you know what you're dealing with. Other than not signs saying, you know, just come here. So you know, the fight is going to continue, and thank God I have my team on.
Okay, you kind of broke up. I'm going to recap. Zamari, and how old was your son? I'm sorry, 12 years old, right?
12 years old, only 12 years old.
12 years old, man, and such with so much bright future ahead, man. Just, you know, a great spirit, like you say, almost on his way to Duke Ellington. I just spoke to my audience in reference to the school year coming up, and you know, shout out to Duke Ellington. Rest in paradise to Zamari. Virginia Beach pool last year. You say he drowned, and there were no lifeguards, and this is considered a private beach, correct?
And like I said, that's the law that right now that private beaches don't have to have a lifeguard to protect the vacationers. I'm not understanding that. So we're fighting hard to make it law to make it mandatory for lifeguards to be at all private, public beaches, just everywhere. It just be a lifeguard anytime there's a beach water. This makes sense.
Right. Absolutely. Miss Eason, take me take me back if you can. Take me back if you can to the day that this had happened. He was swimming and he went
He
a
went
little
under.
really far out, or what actually happened?
No, he didn't go too far out. It was come to find out it was unlevel sand underneath. That's what I understand it because it was another man that drowned the same day, and he was with his girlfriend, and they both dipped down. That's how I know her boyfriend was trying to lift her up, hold her up, and he couldn't. And she went to go try to get help. After she fell down in the hole down in the ocean. Like the sand was unlevel, like quicksand.
Hmm.
So that's what we're thinking it might have happened. But there's no warning sign saying any conditions of the water or anything like that, or of the beach or anything. So it's a fight. So like you said, take you back to that day. So he was struggling in the water, and one of the people we were with went to go try to get help, and was told by what appeared to be a Delta Marriott employee, which is where we were staying at the Delta Marriott Hotel, who owns the private beach where we were, that there were no lifeguards on duty. You have to call 911. So I went over there too, and I'm like, we need help. And he was like, oh, Zamari, he'll be fine over there. It's shallow water. He's fine. Just go, just shoved it off. And so I had to call 911. And by the time 911 got there, the airplanes, by land, sea, everything, firefighters, just everybody was looking for Zamari for hours for his body. And they found it, and just me seeing that gurney just roll across that sand, that white sheet over it, my life, it'll never be the same again.
Yeah, I'm sure. Wow. How have you been? How have you been since this has happened? Let me ask you this. How are you coping with this? We never want to bury our child. Our child could be burying us. So as a mom, how are you coping with this and getting through, especially during the summer months? And people are going to the pool, people are going to these beaches. I actually spoke to your campaign manager, and I didn't know. He said it was, I think, shock. They called it death. What was it?
Yeah, they call it a death beach now. But he said when he grew up in the area, he said they called it Shark City because it was a lot of sharks out there. And he said it kind of reminded him of Jaws. Like nobody would tell you the dangers because they want the money to keep coming in to the resorts. So they let you keep just rolling in, and sharks was eating them, and they're drowning at Virginia Beach. So they're calling it a death beach now. So. Yep.
So how have you been holding up? How have you been coping with this whole thing since the passing of Zamari?
Yeah, I just been leaning on my friends, leaning on God, just therapists. It's just been so hard. I even started. We have Zamari's World, which is a support group of people who supporting me since I lost Zamari and my family. And helping us to cope and saying, encouraging words every day. I could put in there how I'm feeling in there. Let me know what Bible verse to read, and it's just a support group.
You said your campaign person, Miss Tina, is available?
Dr. Tina Michelle, she's the organizer. She's helping me to organize everything. And attorney Yaida Ford should be coming on as well, my attorney.
Okay. Let me ask you, as far as the legal standpoint of this, how far have you all gotten with that?
Yeah, that's why I want her to explain more. But like I said, there's no law saying that it's mandatory that they have to have a lifeguard. So that's it. They're getting away with all these deaths. Like I said, it was another guy who drowned that same day. Then since then, it was the next month, 2 people drowned again the same day. And then recently, about a month ago, another person drowned. So
wow, a month ago.
Since Zamari, 4 more people drowned and died since Zamari drowned and died. So this is horrible. It's insensitive, inhumane for them to just let people just go out there and just willy-nilly and no safety precautions. Nothing out there. No lifeguards. I can't believe that.
Yeah, because I remember, I can remember, I haven't been to the beach. I'm always at the pool, but haven't been to a beach in a while. And that's why this story had kind of shocked me. And I'm glad that we had spoke, because I didn't know that. I would not think a body of water like that would not have a lifeguard. That's
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 just
just shocking to me. That's just
talk.
puzzling to me. I just can't. I can't believe it.
Imagine how I felt walking up and down the beach looking for a lifeguard and none in sight, and my son is struggling in the water.
Mm, mm, mm.
That's
Um. Wow. Zamari wanted to be a artist.
yeah, he was
Uh,
already started. I do have a
sounds
lot of
like
his
he was.
drawings. hmm
Sound like he wanted to be a young, which I love, a young business owner. He had told
Yeah,
you, that y'all want to be straight. He was going to
yeah,
take care of the family,
yeah.
but like a man, basically.
Like a man. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as you know, I'm the founder of the Black Business Owners Network. So he's always watching me with business owners and networking with them. And so he just doing what he naturally do, know how to draw. So he started drawing like mixtape covers and
Right.
different pieces of art and for people, logos, and started Zamari's World before he turned 12. So I'm still proud of him. I got a lot of his art left, a big box of art. I need to. I'm putting on some merchandise, so it's still coming. The merchandise is coming, coloring books,
Mhm.
different. I have prints, in people's homes, just little pieces of Mari everywhere.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let me ask you. You said you wouldn't go to the beach again at all, right?
Not right now, no. This is as far as I can come is like a lake like this, and just come and talk to Zamari and talk to God, but not a beach, not a big body of water like that. Too soon for
And
me.
where are you? Where are you located?
I'm in Washington D.C.
Oh, you're in Washington D.C.
Yes,
And just let the audience know this happened in Virginia Beach,
Virginia
a
Beach,
place that
Virginia,
people frequently go to.
all the time. And they will be coming. They still headed there all summer. That day, I just went up and down the beach and tried to warn as many families as I could that what happened to my son, and for them to be careful, and to watch out because there's no lifeguards if you look around. And everybody was looking around in shock, like, oh, "You're right. There's no lifeguards out here." So,
Mm, mm,
I
mm.
just hope I just need, I'm glad, happy for your platform and other platforms like yours that can help me to get the
Right.
words out to help, families to be safe and save some lives, at least in tomorrow's honor.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. What I like to do, Miss Brenda, on my show, I ask all of my guests, and these things go hand in hand. I always ask my guests, how do they feel about missing people?
About my son was missing for for a while. They, because they just was looking for him. It was just like an all out search. So I hear about the
Uh,
Amber Alerts and things like that, about missing people. So it it just hurts my heart, because this child is missing. They don't have their child, and I can relate to what that feels like. So
And also, like I just mentioned, the school year is coming up. We have a lot of incidents that have occurred, within the last school year. Even, a lot of teen deaths, whether it be, violence, whether it be drugs, whether it be, they're going missing, never found, or whether it be them just engaging in all of the wrong activity. You being a black business owner and dealing with the youth, what advice, would you give, parents for this up and coming school year?
yeah, I would say just keep them busy, keep them active, find what things they like to do. Any extracurricular activities, anything after school to keep their mind focused on something other than violence or peer pressure or hanging with the wrong crowd. Just keep them occupied and busy. That's what I would say. Mhm.
And you have you have another you have a son, another son and a daughter, right?
Yeah, yes. I have another son and a daughter. My son, Rob Picasso, the founder of Facts and Stats. He has a show too, a podcast. So, and my daughter, she's still in high school. She's 16. So
Let me
she's
ask you,
taking
let's
about
be, she's 60. Okay. Will she be graduating this year? Or she's in a
no, she has a couple more years. Mhm.
couple of years. Okay, okay. Let me ask you, since we podcast thing. Let me ask, how do you feel about the podcast world these days? I mean, I'm a podcaster myself, but I just like to ask people, how do you feel about it? What do you
I
think
have one
about,
too. Yeah,
doing
I
the
like.
podcast?
Yeah, for the BBON, we have the BBON Empowerment Show, where it's like a podcast on YouTube.
Oh,
So, yeah, I mean, I think it's good for engagement, with your audience. It's good for, of course, promotion, advertising, topics, talk about certain topics in our community is important, on podcasts to talk
right.
about.
Okay, okay. Great. This is great. This is great. Is your lawyer available?
She said she was on. Do you see her in the back? Yaida Ford.
There she is. There she is.
Yes, she
Yeah.
is.
Hi,
Hey,
Hello.
how you doing? How you doing, Miss Ford? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem. No problem. Welcome to Focus Radio. Thanks for gracing the stage, and just speaking to Miss Esan in reference to Zamari. So the name of this show is Justice for Zamari, 12-year-old who lost his life at Virginia Beach, who actually drowned due to the fact that no lifeguards were present, and the law states, which is crazy to me, that lifeguards don't have to be present at a private beach. Can we touch on that? That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's interesting that that came up because the law is pretty murky in the Commonwealth when it comes to when a lifeguard is required.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and the Commonwealth is different in a lot of areas of law, but this one we thought was pretty interesting because the ocean is considered like open and notorious and people should know that it's dangerous. It's like, well, a private entity like the Delta Marriott doesn't necessarily have the responsibility of providing like extra safety features at a beach for a family with children or for just people, period. However, on this particular beach, there weren't any signs to say no lifeguard on duty. Nothing warning the patrons that there wasn't a lifeguard. The other thing that was missing was that, if you go to some resorts, they have these indicators in the water, like don't go past this line.
Yeah.
Usually there's a drop off. It's also known as a reef. If you go past there, there's a huge dip. And this beach didn't have that. And these are the normal things you would see even in a third world, like even in the Caribbean, you would see that. And, where a private entity would have the indicators in the water so that the tourists know, don't go past this part, or some sign saying no lifeguard on duty. So the other thing that's interesting, and Miss Issa did touch on this, was that the Delta Marriott employee who was on the beach sort of kind of shrugged it off like that's the shallow part. So I'm not even sure that their own employees know that this danger is very present in the water. So part of the campaign that Brenda has started and part of our ask right now is that the local leaders in Virginia Beach move to change this law. So many people have died at this point. There should be a law either requiring hotel owners who can clearly afford it to put up the proper signage so people know there's no lifeguard on duty, put up indicators in the water if you know that there is a hidden danger. It's called a hidden danger in your water that families should be aware of. That's what the push that we want. Or at the end of it, you can afford a lifeguard, just put a lifeguard there. If not, at least warn your patrons who are paying money to stay in your hotel that you don't have anyone on duty to help them when they need help.
See, this is like really, it's just puzzling to me because especially on a private beach, you will want that beach as safe as possible because people are thinking private. So you will have people just going out anytime to this beach, swimming amongst themselves, and it's private. So you will want it to be as safe as possible, like anything else that we consider private or kind of like having a special invitation to.
Yes.
And it's just puzzling to me. So let me ask you this: the law states that. So how are you fighting that as far as you being a lawyer? What are you?
We've already been in touch with the Delta Marriott to discuss the potential of resolving this early with Miss Wilson. There's been a lot of pushback, at least as far as, hey, we're not, financially responsible for this at all. The secondary push to that, right, is to seek to get legislative changes. So the law has to change, and we will go first with the council and then to the Commonwealth to say, look, we need these changes to either be applied Commonwealth-wide, which means statewide, or at least in Virginia Beach. So that is the secondary part of our fight.
And I was speaking with Miss Wilson. I didn't know that it's been in the recent years four deaths as far as people drowning at this particular location.
I have not confirmed. We have not yet confirmed that number, but what I can say is that same weekend, if not the same day that Zamari died, another man died on that same stretch of beach. It wasn't at the Delta Marriott Hotel, but it was on that same stretch of water. And he was a strong swimmer, 44 years old, and drowned. It wasn't like this was like some kid who was out there kind of flailing around. This was a grown man who couldn't survive it. So this is a hidden danger for anyone.
It's and that's why one of the reasons why I do my platform to shed light on cases like this, because we rarely hear about people drowning, and dying. People don't talk about you don't hear about this, as far as deaths, due to drowning. So that's one of the reasons why I definitely wanted to bring Miss Brenda on, because us, and when I say us, I'm talking about our people. We love the water, we love the beach, we love the pool. A lot of us are in the water and can't swim. We just want to be in the water. So very, very important that we open up some eyes and shed light on cases like this. Let me ask you, say you're getting the pushback from with the hotel or just the state of Virginia, period?
No, just with the hotel. I mean, obviously that's our first line, is we notify the hotel, say, hey, this is we're opening an investigation in this case. We are looking into your liability for the death of, you fill in the blank. In this instance, it was a 12-year-old boy. And at that point, they contact their insurance carrier. This is the usual process. And then we engage in our investigations to uncover as much as we can. And that's when we started researching the law, and it was like, wow, in the Commonwealth, this is, going back to, you're talking about 80 years of, if it's something like the ocean, hey, people, you should know it's dangerous, and there's no real liability there. It hasn't really been tested in decades. So they came back at us with that, and then we noted, hey, but let's remember, you had an employee out there, and somebody notified that employee, and that employee shrugged it off like, oh, that's the shallow part. So so we were going back and forth with them about this to get at least some type of, just to feel them out as to where they were with resolving it with the Wilson family. And so thankfully, Miss Wilson's got people like you willing to keep talking about this. It's been a year, and I think the hotel wants this to go away. They don't want to talk about it anymore. They want this to go away. But the more we expose this, the more attention we can bring to it, and the more we can make people realize and care about these hotels raking in multi-millions of dollars, and still not having any accountability or any responsibility, at least to warn. There is, and I believe this, I'm just saying this morally now, a duty to warn. There is a duty to warn, and the hotels in the Commonwealth in Virginia Beach do not have that duty. So be careful about going to Virginia Beach. Be careful about going to Delta Marriott Hotel, and that's what I would tell people. They don't have any duty to warn you about a hidden danger in the water, even if they know about it. Now, if you could prove that they knew about it, then that might change the game a little bit. But in this instance, we just don't know what they knew or didn't know. But they should have known that there was a drop off in that water, and they likely did know and chose not to put any additional signs, not to put any indicators in the water. They made a conscious and deliberate decision not to do it.
Wow. Dr. Tatum, I always bring people into the Phocuz radio world. You being a lawyer, which is a great thing, man. I love my sisters, my career women, successful. I love it. How do you feel about missing people? Have you ever had a missing persons case where you had to, fight for maybe a family or justice, where it was a missing persons case and a lawyer had to get involved?
So I do primarily civil rights, police misconduct, police
Oh,
shooting.
okay.
I have not had the opportunity to do a missing persons case. You just made me think of Carly Russell and that whole situation. But I know I live in the district and I also practice in the district, but I also practice in Maryland. And obviously I do some work in Virginia. And we have the highest number of missing Black girls in the District of Columbia because of trafficking. And I have not yet, delved into the civil side of that, but I do know we number of missing Black girls.
Yeah. And it takes, I say it all the time, it takes a village, it takes the people, it takes definitely the community to, change a lot of these laws. I know I mentioned earlier when my show first came on, I was telling people that very important to vote. I mean, some people, they don't care, but your vote matters, putting the right people in office that care, that want to change the laws. So that's very, very, very important. But we as people have to care. It starts with us. I mean, we are the world. We are the community.
You have a good point, Phil, because one of the things in the district that came up in 2020 was legalizing prostitution, and that there was a big rift in the city about that, because Southeast, your communities of color were not hip to that, right? You're more progressive, kind of white liberals. We're like, no, we should legalize it because we want to decriminalize this. I mean, most of the women being arrested are women of color, trans, But I think what our community was concerned about was the fact that you have trafficking victims mixed up in there. And how will the law distinguish between girls who need to be rescued from that? If you decriminalize it for everybody, how do we distinguish between the girls who want to be freed from that? How will you distinguish between a woman who is out there kind of, on her own or just soliciting, and a girl who's been trafficked? And so that is still being debated here in the district, and you'd be surprised at the rift in the community because of that issue. That goes into the missing persons issue.
And I think that with that, that's just a small part of it. Because what happens after that, and how do you, like you said, how do you determine that this person is a prostitute but doing it legally? That's just wow. That's wow.
So
it's
actually, my campaign manager, who's on Dr. Tina Michelle, she does a lot in that work. She helps to recover sex trafficking, all the type of missing people. So she might be good to answer that question too.
Okay. She's on.
She should be still on the background. Yeah, there she is. Hey, Dr. Tina.
Hello.
Hey, Dr. Tina, how you doing?
Good. Interesting topic.
Thank you for gracing our Phocuz radio stage. I appreciate you. Thank you.
The whole conversation is interesting to me. First, dealing with I call it the Shut It Down campaign for Brenda, because I feel like it's called Virginia Beach. It's not actually a beach if you can't participate in the beaching part of it, because you die. So, just to get to the brass tacks, with some of the campaigns that we've run here in Arizona, and we've had whole police departments fired, we've had them lose their insurance, we targeted their money so that they were at a stalemate to make police reform immediately. In order to be able to move in that manner, you have to know where does it hurt them. Delta Marriott is one of the brands, but I think from a national standpoint, the campaign needs to be national. Also, because that's how they make all their money. It's a tourist city for beach. So that part alone, just to make a public outcry that if you're going to go to a beach, it should be a beach. It should not be your death trap. It should not be you're not here to bring your children into a situation or your family into a situation where that's what they're solely advertising about. They're advertising the fact that this is a family community beach. Virginia's for lovers, right? Well, they can't deliver that. They can't deliver that. So just based on that, it should be shut down. The beach needs to be shut down until the laws change. If we can't change it down because it is a commonwealth, which means that it's there, at the privilege and at the privy of individuals of stature in that community that make decisions that impact them, which is no one who uses that beach, then it
Right.
needs to happen from a national outcry.
Yeah.
And that's the only way to do that, right? And nice to meet you, by the way, talking to Brenda's lawyer.
You as
You know,
well.
the whole conversation around the DC metro area having the most missing Black girls. We've done campaigns since 2016 in particular, about 52,000 Black girls missing.
Yeah, yeah.
52,000. And so it's commodity, it's a commoditized conversation, meaning someone's making money. If you don't hit them where the money is made, they're not going to stop doing it. Sex trafficking has been one of the oldest businesses that we've ever known. We call it prostitution. Some people call it the music industry, but it's sex trafficking. I'm just saying what it is. And so we have to be aware as a community.
Yeah.
And if we are still willing to say that was not my child, or I'm going to ignore this because it doesn't affect me or impact me, then there will be no change. We have to have one voice in order to create this change. So I appreciate you giving her a platform. One of the most important tools that we have in a community, you're talking about podcasting, is broadcasting. I've been broadcasting since forever. And I get the CEO. And as a matter of fact, Brenda, we started podcasting back when it wasn't cute. I was looking at our old shows for Black Empowered. We were doing Black Empowered in 2008, 2007, that podcast. But, you know, I get to be the CEO of Connect to Your City Television Network, where we have over 105 TV networks that I manage. So that's for our community, that's a weapon, right?
Yeah.
We need to use the weapon of the narrative of media and consolidate the voices of our people in our communities instead of working in silos, because otherwise we will never make impact. Never. While working with lawyers, while working with legislation, while putting pressure on corporate. It's going to take us all to get it done, but it's going to take being strategic and being intelligent about it. One of the methodologies that Brenda's very aware of, because you remember what was happening, I think it was 2018, 2019, when a family was pulled out of their car here in Phoenix, Arizona. And typically what we would have done, and really it was literally 11 police cars pursued this family for 3 miles away from the store where there was a major robbery going on. A 4-year-old walked out the store with a Barbie doll.
Major.
Okay. And they pulled the father out of the car, made the pregnant mom sit on concrete at 105 degrees in our temperature, pulled the baby out of his arms, dislocated the 1-year-old's arms, and trained their guns on this little Black girl. The one thing that I was able to work with when my team came to me, said, we're going to protest, we're going to shut it down. So we have to do more than that. Because we had one blessing here, and the blessing was that that family lived.
Wow.
If we had any other outcome, I would not have been able to pull the body cam. I would not have been able to pull all the cameras, right? In a certain radius, because we are able to do that. We had, you know, we're broadcasters. We pulled all the cameras. And then we addressed the police department, knowing that they were going to lie, knowing they were going to deny, knowing that they were going to make public statements. But we didn't let them know we had the media. We didn't let them know we had the facts. We let them perjure and lie publicly so that we can dispute the facts publicly on a public stage. So when they put their stuff out.
I want to ask you, Dr. Tina, how do we, I know talking about it, it takes a community, right? But where do we start with gathering people and getting people together? How do we do it? I mean, some people are not interested. Some people mind is just, you know, so small.
Well, they have different jobs, right? So I sort of look at, if you sort of look at my mission statement and how we move, I believe there's 3 types of people in this cast called change, right? You have the activist that's going to stop the injury at the point of contact. You have the actionist who's going to do something that's leverageable, which in my case, I was the actionist. I took the video and I distributed nationally, immediately to Don Lemon, D.L. Hughley, right? So while they were lying, we were able to shut them down through media. That was my part as the actionist. Then you have a transactionist. The transactionists were the people who did not want to be seen or heard.
Okay.
But they were the ex-district attorney who knew the law. It was the ex-sheriff that should have been on the other side of the law with us, right? Sheriff Apayo, he's infamous, right? But I sat with him. I said, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So I sat down with him, had cigars. How do you train your police officers? I need to know what their oaths are.
Wow.
I need to know what does it look like when it comes to bringing judgment to police officers as a civilian and as another officer. Oh, so they don't have to respond to us as civilians. So let me call a whole different police department and have them judge the oath that they took. So I had to be very strategic while I knew the noise was going to go on, the protests were going to go on, and the outcry was going on. Great, you look over here at this hand, but I'm going to go over here and have other conversation with people who may not ever get on that camera. But they sign things. They help me move through legislation, mental health laws, right? Different laws, so that when we got to the table, I said, look, if the cop has shot someone within the past 60 days, he should be under mental health evaluation. He should not be on the beat. He should not be on the street. He has a fresh kill. In the military, they take you to decompress when you have a little bit of fire play. This is no different. That was one thing we were able to change, and the mental health protocols, and installing 988 instead of just 911. 988 is the mental health hotline for when someone is having a mental health breakdown. So it's not just 911.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, 988 is 911 for mental health. So, laying this out, what is the actual strategy? The strategy is we have our legal investigation going on, right? That's what you're doing, Attorney Ford, right? Then we have the corporate investigations going on. While she's doing that, I'm sort of looking at cases for Marriott, Delta Marriott, and looking at what is our easiest point of entry. It's not about winning the whole case right now. It's about a point of entry that they cannot deny where we can prove intent. If we can prove intent and delinquency in any area, then we can attach strategy to it across the board. Because it's a Delta Marriott company, though they have their business established in the Commonwealth of Virginia, it is a national company, and they do have to do business in the United States of America, and there should be human rights and human interests involved with their corporation at a headquarters level. That is another conversation to have. So as we are mixing it up as we can, everyone takes their job as an actionist. If you're good at screaming on the street, scream on the street. If you live in the Commonwealth of Virginia, do the investigation. Let's figure out who our allies are that are local there, right? That are going to be willing to walk us into legislation. Let's go to the floor. Let's change the laws. Let's bug them when they're having their little town meetings and town hall meetings and committee meetings. Meanwhile, let's make some public letter campaigns going to corporations, or the main corporation that holds that franchise license, and let them know about the liability of that area. Because I'm not going to say just it was a mistake, it's an error. If you know that this is a continuous practice, to me, it's intentional harm. It's intentional harm. And we may never get a conviction for second-degree manslaughter, but that's the language we need to use in order to come down to something that makes sense. But it is, if you know.
Or, as Dr. Michelle just noted, if they know and don't do anything about it, or if they should know, it's something that's very easy to ascertain, and they don't even bother to do the investigation. That's also a form of
exactly, and it's negligence, right? Yeah. So where they want to say, it was an error, it's a mistake. No, it's manslaughter. You're advertising a beach that cannot be used as a beach safely. Just that part baffles me. It's called Virginia Beach. What do you mean you don't have the normal things beaches have?
A beach has.
Yeah, especially a private beach. Yeah.
It doesn't, and if that's the norm in the entire state, then that needs to be addressed, and it needs to be challenged. And this Commonwealth law has been on the book since the Constitution, right? And because we're looking at something that has never been challenged, has never been upgraded, because we're not fighting a law. We're fighting the right of sovereignty of capitalism and the regulations that follow. That's what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
So that needs to be assessed and reevaluated.
Yeah.
We have I only have 5 minutes left. We got to wrap this up. I definitely want a part 2 with all of you all. I'll get everybody's information from Ms. Brenda. I actually wrote all the names down. So
Damari was like my nephew. He was like my nephew. He was losing my own, right? Because Brenda's like my sister. We started BBO and, you know, she started it and I just went alongside her, you know?
I never had the chance to meet him, but just the spirit of all of you all and Miss Brenda, you know, I can feel his presence, honestly. And you know, for any kid that wants to go to Duke Ellison, that's my guy. So we got to wrap this up, ladies. I appreciate you all. Thanks for gracing the stage with Phocuz Radio. I definitely want to do a part 2. I definitely would like to keep in touch with you all, and justice for Zamari. And we just gonna keep pushing, and we'll keep fighting.
Yes.
I thank you all.
Zamari.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's shut it down. Let's shut it down.
Yeah.
Zamari's World.
Everybody.
All you all on Facebook.
On Facebook.
All you all on Facebook.
Yeah, Zamari's World is a group where we keep his memory alive. Zamari's World. So yeah, join us over
Okay.
there.
I will be following. I'll be following.
Thank you.
I thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And please sign
Thank
the
you.
petition. We have 354 signatures. We need more. We need 1,000.
Oh,
Sign the
yeah,
petition.
there's-
Thank you.
Send it to me. Send it to me.
I will. Yeah.
Okay.
Please share it. Thank you. Thanks for the
Thanks.
time.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you guys for coming on too. All right.
And deficit motherfucker. You can't trust a mother. Cause people be mother. They stab you in your back and they smile up in your face. They do whatever they take.